For years, people have said that single player games are fading away, that everything needs multiplayer hooks, live service updates, or endless monetization to survive. But 2026 tells a very different story. From cinematic action games to deep experimental sci fi to massive RPGs and stylish combat showcases. This year is shaping up to be a renaissance for single player gaming. Today, we're breaking down the most exciting single player games releasing in 2026, why they matter, and how they prove solo experiences are stronger than ever. "007 First Light" gives us something Bond fans have waited decades for. A true single-player origin story. You play a younger, unrefined James Bond, long before the legend. This means less spectacle for the sake of it, and more focused on stealth, tension, and decision-making. Missions are designed around infiltration, observation, and restraint, making you feel like an actual spy, not just an action hero with a gun. If done right, this could finally be the Bond game that stands alongside the films. Remedy is back with Control Resonant, and if the original game is any indication, things are about to get weird in the best way. This sequel dives deeper into paranormal storytelling, abstract environments, and a narrative that trusts players to connect the dots. Control worked because it didn't explain everything, it let mystery exist. Resonant looks to double down on that philosophy, delivering a cerebral single-player experience that rewards curiosity and exploration. This isn't just a game you play, it's one you interpret. After years of silence, Pragmata is finally nearing release, and it still feels like one of the most mysterious games on this list. Set in a haunting sci-fi future, Pragmata blends action, puzzle solving, and emotional storytelling in a surreal, isolated world. The relationship between its two main characters appears to be central to both gameplay and story. Capcom has described it as a deeply single-player experience built around atmosphere and discovery. The kind of game that slowly unravels rather than explains itself up front. If you enjoy sci-fi that leans philosophical instead of explosive, Pragmata could be something special for you. Saros looks like a bold step forward for its sci-fi shooters. Built as a challenging, story-driven single-player experience, Saros emphasizes skill-based combat, alien environments, and survival against overwhelming odds. Rather than constant power fantasy, this game appears to focus on vulnerability, forcing players to adapt, learn enemy patterns, and master movement to survive. It's atmospheric, intense, and unapologetically focused on the single-player experience. Okay, if there's one game aiming to dominate 2026, I'm thinking it's Crimson Desert. I have mentioned this game in the past videos of mine, and every time I see gameplay, it just gets more bizarre. This massive open-world RPG combines cinematic storytelling with real-time combat in a living, breathing world. From large-scale battles to quiet character moments, everything is designed to make the world feel more reactive, I guess you could say. What really sets Crimson Desert apart is its ambition. This isn't just an open world. It's a story-first open world, built to be experienced alone, at your own pace. If it sticks to landing, this could be one of the defining single-player RPGs of this generation. Feast of Reincarnation is one of the biggest curveballs of 2026. Developed by Game Freak, this darker action RPG leans into themes of transformation, decay, and myth. Combat appears deliberate and weighty, with a strong emphasis on mastering abilities rather than overwhelming enemies. It's a reminder that some of the most exciting single-player games come from studios willing to reinvent themselves. Legacy of Atlantis brings Tomb Raider back to its roots: exploration, isolation, and ancient mystery. Combat takes a backseat to puzzle solving, traversal, and massive tombs designed to feel dangerous and awe-inspiring. The game emphasizes being alone in hostile environments, relying on wit rather than firepower. This feels like a love letter to the classic single-player adventure design. On the indie side, Mio Memories in Orbit delivers a quieter, more emotional experience. This Metroidvania blends fluid platforming with storytelling built around memory and identity. Progression is tied directly to narrative moments, making exploration feel personal rather than mechanical. It's proof that single-player games don't need massive budgets to leave a lasting impact. While Monster Hunter is known for multiplayer, Monster Hunter Stories 3 is proudly single-player focused. Turn-based combat, narrative choices, and creature bonding define the experience here. It's slower, more thoughtful, and designed for players who want to immerse themselves in a world, not rush through it. Phantom Blade Zero is pure style and precision. Fast, cinematic melee combat meets incredible visuals, with an emphasis on mastery rather than grinding. Every encounter tests timing, positioning, and skill. This is a game built for players who love learning systems and earning victory, a hallmark of great single-player design. Gang of Dragon is pure, unapologetic action, a modern take on classic brawler design, built entirely for single-player. This game leans into exaggerated characters, flashy combat, and a heavy sense of style. Fights are fast, aggressive, and designed to make you feel powerful without sacrificing challenge. What makes Gang of Dragon stand out is its arcade-inspired energy, but refined for modern audiences. It's about momentum, spectacle, and mastering crowd control. The kind of game that feels perfect for short sessions, yet rewarding enough to fully commit to. In a year full of massive RPGs and cinematic adventures, Gang of Dragon represents focused combat-first single-player fun. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Ontos is slow, deliberate, and deeply philosophical. This is a narrative-driven single-player experience that explores themes of existence, identity, and choice. Gameplay is intentionally restrained, encouraging reflection rather than constant action. Ontos appears to rely heavily on atmosphere, dialogue, and environmental storytelling, and silence is just as important as sound. It won't be for everyone, and that's exactly the point. Ontos exists to challenge players emotionally and intellectually, proving that single-player games can still take risks and experiment in ways multiplayer games rarely ever do. Resident Evil Requiem. This feels like Capcom has taken everything they've learned over the past decade and distilling it into one focused, terrifying single-player game. This entry leans heavily back into survival, horror, emphasizing vulnerability, limited resource, and slow building dread. Exploration matters here. Every bullet counts, of course, and the environment itself feels hostile, oppressive, and unpredictable. Requiem also balances two different tones. Moments of pure, suffocating horror paired with bursts of intense action, creating a rhythm that constantly keeps players on edge. You're never fully comfortable, but you're never bored either. Narratively, it acts as both a continuation and a reflection, revisiting the series' legacy while pushing its themes of consequence, trauma, and survival forward. It's not just about monsters anymore, it's about what remains after everything has already gone wrong. If Resident Evil Village showed just how flexible the series could be, Requiem looks like Capcom is still proving they still understand exactly why Resident Evil works best when you're alone, afraid, and barely surviving. What makes 2026 special isn't just the number of single-player games, it's the variety. Big cinematic adventures, deep RPGs, stylish action games, quiet, emotional indie experiences. This is definitely not a dying genre. It's a reminder that solo gaming is evolving, not disappearing. If you love getting lost in a world, experiencing a story at your own pace, and playing for something crafted just for you, 2026 is going to be stacked.